I'm John, and tonight I'm here with Larry Gowan. Larry is a 12-time Juno nominee, which is a Canadian Grammy. He's got 4 platinum records, 3 gold records. He was the highest scorer in minor atom hockey. He has 6 Canadian top 10 singles. That should be more. And tonight, he's performing here at the Mountain Winery as keyboardist and co-lead vocalist for his band Styx.
Exactly.
Thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Larry. John. Lovely to be here.
I'm really excited to have you here. I've been a big fan of yours for years and years.
Is that right?
Yes.
Can I check something on your T-shirt just to make sure?
Yes.
So you're from that land.
The Canada.
I've heard of the Canada. Have you heard of the Styx?
I've heard of the Styx.
Yeah, well, you're going to hear a lot of them tonight.
Fantastic. When you came in, I saw you're drinking some coffee.
Not for the last 5 minutes.
Your own John wants answers.
Right.
To drink
John.
future coffee beverages.
Fantastic.
Hot chocolate.
Well, thank you very kindly, John. I love that. I'll put this next to my Regis and Kelly mug. I collect one from every interview. Thank you. John wants answers.
So you seem to be on tour a lot. I check out the Styx World page and the tour page, and there's always a bunch of dates listed.
Right.
How much of the year are you on tour?
Well, John, my God, that coffee's light. We're on tour for at least half the year. With Styx, we play, this year we're on schedule to do 104 shows, and I managed to squeeze in 7 Gowan solo shows as well this year. We're on the road about, I'd say 200 out of the 365 days in the year.
And home base is still in Toronto?
Toronto, yeah. Home base is still in Toronto, and I love living there.
So how long have you been in Styx now?
Oh boy, let me see. Into my 14th year. Into my 14th year. We have played over 1,500 shows around the world. We continue to tour the world and let people know what the Styx experience is all about.
Are you still considered the new guy?
I consider myself the new guy. Yeah, I think when you're in a band that's been around for, a band that's into its 5th decade now, I don't see how you can not consider yourself the new guy if you've only been in it for a mere 14 years.
Right.
This lineup of the band have played more shows than any other previous lineup have, combined. So that really says something about what we've built since I joined in 1999. That we've continued to build on the great success they had in the past, and really bring the live Styx experience to this insatiable demand to see the band wherever we can get to.
Right. How did it go about you joining Styx?
In Montreal, in 1997 they built the new Molson Center. It's where it was New Montreal Forum. Donald K. Donald in Canada, people will know him as a legendary promoter in Quebec. He had us both booked on the same night, and he had them at the new Molson Center. And he said, Styx needed an opener for that night,
right.
And he said, would you open that show? And right at that time, he'd promoted lots of shows for me in the past, and the reason he thought putting myself together with Styx was that I just had a new live record come out a few weeks prior, and it was in the top 10 in Quebec. Correct. Yeah. Gowan, Au Québec. And it had a couple of French songs on there, and he just thought that's kind of a nice combination because, Styx first broke in Quebec. I first broke in Quebec. My first number 1 was in Quebec with A Criminal Mind. Their first number 1 was with Sweet Madame Blue in Quebec. I played the show completely solo. I was able to elicit a lot of response and chorus singing from the audience. And when the band heard that, one by one, I would look side stage after Strange Animal, and I say, hey, there's Todd Zuckerman, the Styx drummer. And then I looked over, hey, there's Chuck Panazzo. And then after the next song, I see, oh, there's Tommy Shaw. And eventually, I saw there were more Styx members at the side stage with each successive song, and the audience was, Montreal spectacular.
Right.
And at the end of the show, I came off one of those nights where everything was going right. So there were a multi-encore night, and it just went really, really well. And Tommy happened to remark, as I came out, he just said, I really enjoyed that. I hope we get a chance to work together in future. And so it's funny how the universe brings things around, because I went and watched their show, and I was really entertained by it. I thought, this band I'd never seen Styx. And I just thought, I made a curious comment that night to the people I was with. I said, I'd never be in a band because I'm a solo artist, but this is a band I could see myself fitting into. But I'd never made such a comment like that before with another band. And 2 years later, they asked me to join.
So I grew up in Canada, so I'm familiar with your solo stardom
That's
throughout
excellent.
Canada. And a lot of
Good.
people here, we're here in California,
Yes.
don't know anything about your solo career.
There might be a good reason for that. The records were not released in the United States, and so
Right.
that's why people here, for the most part, are unfamiliar with it. But they're more familiar with it now since I joined Styx.
So I want to review the superstardom that you are in Canada.
Oh, please, take your time.
So in '85, it was the big smash hit record, Strange Animal.
Okay,
And
I remember that.
4 hit singles, right?
Yes.
Amazing videos. Like to this day, people are still talking about these videos you had
That's good.
for these songs. You were Juno nominated
Yep.
for these videos too. The record was recorded in England
Yes.
at John Lennon's house.
Correct. At the time when we recorded it, 1984, it was Ringo Starr's house. Actually, I made a little documentary on it on this album I put out called Return of the Strange Animal
Right,
in
the
2010.
Tiltonhurst Park.
Tiltonhurst Park. Did a little song about the whole
Yeah.
experience. And so if people want to look for that website, it's gowanstrangeanimal.com, and you can see the little story that's there. In 1984, the producer I wound up working with was a guy named David Tickle, and he was running the studio for Ringo for the previous few years. And he played my demos for the Peter Gabriel band. You know, Jerry Marotta, Tony Levin, and David Rhodes. Also another guitar player named Chris Jarrett. And they liked the demos and said, yeah, we'll make a record with this guy. And so the great coincidence was February the 7th, 1984, that I actually walked in the house, and Ringo was there, greeted us at the door. And that's a pretty intense moment in your life when you actually come face to face with an actual Beatle, especially in his house. And exactly 20 years to the day that the Beatles came to America. So I thought, God, there's great vibes going on here, you know. And I remember, you know, with the band I had in the 70s, we always played Imagine, the song Imagine. And that's where John recorded Imagine, and that's where he did the video for Imagine.
I remember
on
the
white
big piano
Yep.
opening up the drapes.
Yeah. But 3 years after we made the album, I saw the movie Imagine that I believe Yoko produced. Showed them recording the whole record at Tiltonhurst Park, and I saw, oh my God, it's using the same microphones, the same instruments are around. Virtually looks like the identical studio, and it's one of the most astounding experiences I could ever have had. And when I hear A Criminal Mind on the radio, I hear, wow, the piano sounds like the piano that's in Imagine, and just the ambience of the studio just ties in perfectly.
Could you tell when you're making this record, it was your second record?
Yes.
Could you tell something was different and it was going to be as huge as it was?
I could tell that it was different. There was a sudden feeling of confidence that this was a really strong musical statement. And it sounded current, you know what I mean? When we'd listen to other stuff that was on the radio, or that music seemed to stand up and felt really, it just felt really good every day in the studio. You'd come in, you'd put the tracks up and be like, God, this feels really strong. Of course, you still have that little bit of, well, more than a little bit. You've got the big unknown as to whether people are going to relate to this or not, you know. But there was, I have to say, there was a strong confidence when I came back with the record, feeling like, you know, if this is the last record I ever make, I made a good one,
Right.
you know. And it didn't totally shock me when it took off as it did. What shocked me was that after it got to like #1 in several charts across the country in Canada, that it didn't get that international release. That was more of the shock and a disappointment to some degree, but it's the way the music industry was structured back then. It's still a great record, and to this day I get letters now from, or you know, Facebook notes, whatever they happen to be, from people in Sweden or Australia or Hong Kong or wherever they discover the record.
So your next album, 87's Great Dirty World.
Yes.
Now this came out right when I started getting into music.
Oh.
I was coming of age.
Okay.
And so I distinctly remember the first time I heard this song.
Moonlight Desires?
Moonlight Desires.
Yeah.
It was on Video Hits with Sam Taylor
Yeah.
on the CBC.
Yeah.
Remember that show?
Perfectly. I was on that show a few times.
Right. So I watched the video. I
Yep.
saw it there, and I was really struck by it. I mean, the video itself is beautiful. You're there on the pyramids, you know, the big full moon, you know, the howling, the owls.
Yeah.
And the song was, you know, something really different and something really catchy. Like, you know, that piano opening is just amazing. And so I was amazed at what I saw.
Great.
And so I didn't really know of you before that. So over the dinner table,
Because you're just a kid.
just a kid.
Yeah.
Over the dinner table, I couldn't get it out of my head. So I'm asking my sister,
Yeah.
who's a little bit older. I'm like, have you heard of this Gowan guy? He had this song, you know, on the video
Right.
show. Have you heard of him? And she said, oh, Gowan, yeah, I remember him. He had, you know, the Strange Animal record and these songs.
Way back 2 years ago. Yeah.
Right. So Moonlight Desires,
Right.
the big hit. Now you got a SOCAN award for that. Was it like the?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I got a SOCAN award for that for if a song has achieved 100,000 radio plays in Canada, they give you it's achieved what they call classic status.
So is that your biggest single to date? Would you say?
I think it is actually. I think it's the
For some definition
it's
of
the
biggest?
It's the yeah, for some definition of biggest. The biggest single, I suppose, would still be A Criminal Mind because it became a gold single. That's a very rare thing that a single itself becomes gold off a record that was double plat. Well, I actually hit triple platinum, but Moonlight Desires was the most played song on the widest variety of formats of radio as well, and is still played a great deal. And it's the 25th anniversary of that song and that video this year, in 2012. So I did love the fact that we made that video on the Mayan pyramids, and here we are 25 years later, and the Mayans have predicted that the world will probably end right after this
December, right?
John Vink Wants Answers show. John wants answers.
So we don't have time to go over your entire career.
I just did.
Oh no, there's like a string of gold albums, and you put out after that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
every album had like 2, 3, or 4 hit singles.
Yeah.
I want to talk
You are a good Canadian boy.
I want to talk about the first time we met.
Oh.
I remember more than you do, probably.
Oh, please remind me. I hope it's really embarrassing. I hope I was like really rude to you or
Oh,
something.
no.
Yeah.
It was August '93, so I'm in Toronto, and
August,
a colleague
got
and me go to the gasworks, and it's a weekday night. It's dead. No one's there, and there's a woman on stage singing Madonna song.
Okay.
The gasworks,
Yeah.
and then she does a shout out. It goes, "Oh, my good friend Larry Gowan's here."
Really?
Really? And so I'm like at some other table, and I'm really excited because, you know, small town boy in a big city, Larry Gowan's in the bar. And so I come up to you and say, hey, can I get an autograph? And believe it or not, here you go.
Go away and don't bug me. Corey Hart? What a terrible thing to write on there. Okay, to John, best of life, The Criminal Mind.
Oh, Gowan.
Not bad. Well, that's...
So I dug that up.
Thank you for reminding me of that, because the Gasworks was a very pivotal place in my life, actually. There's a little bit more to my life story. I probably went in that night because they closed the Gasworks for good, I think in the late 90s. And I was very sad to see it go because it was a club that I played in the 70s with my band back then, Rheingold. We played many, many times. 15 weeks in total was what I counted for the Gasworks. And it's a legendary club because Mike Myers, also a Toronto boy,
Right.
kind of immortalized it in Wayne's World. You know, he didn't shoot the actual Gasworks, but the club that he had set in Chicago, he called it the Gasworks, and everyone in Toronto knew it was like, we get it.
Yeah.
So that's good. So we met in the Gasworks. That's you see, I feel a good vibe with you.
I'm here to pay you back.
Oh, I'm
So-
gonna get it. Oh,
I brought you an
me
autograph
guess.
photo.
oh, please. Oh my God, look
This
at
one has my
that.
picture on it.
That looks so much like you. Is it? But this is like 3D, right? 3D black and white. It's a new thing. Yeah, do that look again. It's not actually you, is it?
It's me.
No kidding. Okay, good.
So now I want to tell you about the first time I
Yeah.
saw you perform live.
Okay.
It was Mix 99.9 had a birthday festival. I think they do it every year at Kew Gardens.
Oh, of course, I know. Yeah.
And huge lineup,
Yes.
right? It was
So I remember that day. You got a picture from
was-
it. I just saw
yeah.
that.
It was
Do you know how
Alan
many
Freed-
people were there that day?
I don't know.
They estimated the crowd. No, they estimated that crowd at 100,000 people.
You can't fit 100,000 in that park.
No, of course not. But did you notice that Queen Street was completely blocked,
Oh.
and even the streets that run up from Queen?
Oh.
I know this because I'm actually recording. I can't give the exact address, but there's a studio in that vicinity, at which I'm recording a new Gowan solo record currently. Right now, as we're doing this interview.
It's being recorded without you.
Yeah, my clone's back there working on it. Yeah.
So, great lineup. Alana Miles.
Yep.
Alan Frew of Glass Tiger.
Yes,
Kim Mitchell, I think, was playing.
I believe so.
And
Tom
you-
Cochran, or was it Bare Naked Ladies?
Bare Naked Ladies headlined,
Bare Naked Ladies, yes.
and you played solo.
The reason I remember that is because Bare Naked Ladies would spoof Gowan songs in between their own
know,
songs.
I was going to say that.
They did Awake the Giant, I think.
You blew the crowd away, right? And I was with my friend.
They all went
Dwayne.
home. Yeah.
Dwayne and I, we know my friend, we saw you, we said, hey, that guy is great.
Okay.
Bare Naked Ladies came on,
Yeah.
started doing covers of your songs
That's right. I remember
during the
that.
show.
Yeah.
So we walked away saying, Bare Naked Ladies were the headlining act, but you stole
I
the
like
show.
that part. I was disappointed in the fact that they were not actually bare naked. Sorry. All right. Never mind.
It was,
Stepped on my own punchline.
it was before
Okay.
they became, big in the States. They're big in Canada, not yet big in the States.
That's right, but they were a committed band that.
And you're also
deserved
playing
their success.
acoustic guitar by yourself. With,
Yes,
less clothing.
indeed.
You took off your
Let's
jacket
have a
for
look.
that
Let's
one.
have a look here. Let's have a look at John's memories. Wow, that's pretty good. Look at the size of your picture compared to my.
I remember at that show, now, during Styx
Put this
shows,
over here, John.
you play
Your mug
a
next
bit
to your
of
mug.
Beethoven.
Did
right?
I?
You do some pathetic when you play it with Styx.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember that day you played some Beethoven
Sonata
too.
Pathétique, right?
I think a different one where you like slammed your forearm on the keys and
No,
stuff.
I know what I played there. Oh, hey, there's even a picture of you and I here, right here.
We're getting to that. Yeah.
Man, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
ruining
I'm
the-
ruining the interview. I'm jumping ahead, folks. What did I play? No, that's not by Beethoven. That's a piece called "The King's Chanticleer Rag." It's one of my favorite ragtime pieces. It was introduced to me by a fellow by the name of John Darch, whose cousin, Ragtime Bob Darch, he was one of the few people in the world who played the King's Chanticleer Rag. And when I was 19, I remember I met him, John, and he said, "You got to learn how to play the King's Chanticleer Rag. There's only like 4 or 5 piano players in the world that play it."
Right.
So he gave me an old record by a piano player named Johnny Maddox. I believe it was a '78, and I just slowed it down and learned it, by ear, and then that became kind of a good showpiece to play.
Dwayne and I,
Okay.
we're roommates in Toronto. We
Okay.
would see you as often as we possibly could perform
What-
live.
Okay.
So you
What
played-
year are we in now?
We're like in the 94 to 96 range.
Okay, good.
So we go to Lulu's in Kitchener. You
Yeah,
played there a few
I know it
times.
very well.
And so one time we went to Wayne Gretzky's bar.
Yeah.
You were doing the end
New
of
Year's
the year,
Eve.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, Wayne Gretzky's, and that was I very much remember a great band I had then.
The whole
Are you gonna
band.
show
And
me a
there's
picture?
you with
That's-
them.
There's Jeff. It was Jeff Jones on bass, Kenny Greer from
Kenny Greer, yeah.
both those guys from Red Rider, and it was Jerry Marotta from Peter Gabriel's band and played on all my Gowan records, and Paul McCartney and Stevie Nicks. He was on drums that night.
Here's you later on, ringing in the year when it finally turned midnight.
Man, oh man, my first glass of champagne. That's
And then
right.
here's us at the coat check. And here we are posing for a photo, and this poor lady's trying to get out of the way.
I know who this lady is. Funny enough.
Really? Oh.
Yep.
I still wear this shirt.
Good.
And it's from 1995.
Excellent. Yeah. Good. Recycle them.
You still have that shirt, that jacket?
I do have that jacket. Yes.
Last time I saw you in Toronto before I moved away,
Yeah.
I was at Tears for Fears concert, Dwayne and I again. Tears
Yes.
For Fears. I turn around, 3
Sitting
rows
there.
back, there you are.
Danforth Music Hall. That was a great show. I opened for Tears for Fears on an entire tour of America in 1985. That was when the record Strange Animal was doing so well in Canada, and it just seemed inevitable that they were going to release it in the States. And Tears for Fears knew of the success that it had in Canada, and their record Shout was number 1. And it just seemed like an inevitable thing that it was going to kick over. But if had it done so, you and I wouldn't be sitting here today. You'd probably be sitting over there. Yeah.
So at that show,
Life would be so different.
as we're leaving,
Yeah.
I cornered you.
Yeah.
And I told you, you inspired me to buy my own keyboard.
Good?
And so I was learning to play it.
Good?
And I asked you if I could send you a demo tape one day.
What did I say?
You said, sure, but you probably should send it to a record company instead.
Yeah.
Now, it's been
That-
16 years.
Okay.
But
Here it is, folks.
my first single just came out.
Oh, wow. Smelter.
Now,
The one that Smelter Delter.
actually, the line is,
That's really good.
Smelter, I don't even know her. That's the line of the song. But I did not play keyboards actually on this song.
Smelter Skelter! Oh, no. I like it. I'm sorry, I'm making fun of your song title.
No, that's fine. Once you
I
hear
like it. I also
be-
like that you went with the Ronnie James Dio, or are you actually missing those two fingers?
Am I doing it right?
No,
I was
you're
talking
fine.
to you.
You're actually doing it backwards, which is, I guess, the Canadian way.
Oh, okay.
And sorry, it's the first time I've seen this. It's good. You don't mind me?
No.
Okay,
It's
because this is what I like.
noteworthy.
If you, just in case, if you ever do get this single, and by the way, you're about to sell millions now. You know that.
I've given
because
out
of what's
100,
happened
so
here.
now I'm going to
So,
million.
first of all, you look great, right? But just so you don't think this is just nothing but molten lava and metal, I noticed on the back you've got a really classy chandelier. And that's what really classes it up. That's what puts the smell back in Smelter.
My
Great.
really good friend Scott D. Davis
I like it.
played piano on this. He's a really amazing pianist. You should
Yeah.
look him up. He's
Yeah.
on iTunes.
Okay.
So-
I'm going to listen to this now, John. I really am. In
Oh.
fact, you can play this as our
I'll
going
have
out,
some
going out
quotes-
music.
I have some quotes for you from you.
Good.
I
Well,
can just sell
yeah.
it.
This should better than Styx. Wow, you're going to run that one over and over.
So I moved away from Canada in '96. So I still followed your career on the internet. I learned
On the internet?
on the internet, heard you join
Excellent.
Styx in '99, and I was really happy because now here's my favorite Canadian artist who no one in my country here
Yeah.
knew about. I thought, this is great. You're going to get a worldwide audience. Everyone's going to know who you are.
Finally.
And so one day I'm on the internet and I'm
Yeah.
looking up Styx World or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, when are they coming to my town? Well, they're coming to San Francisco. They're coming tonight.
Wow.
They might have already gone
Started
on
the
stage.
show, yeah.
So I get my friend
Yeah.
and we hop in the car
Yeah.
without a ticket, drive up to the city, 45-minute drive, find some scalper on the street, throw him some money,
Yeah, just throw it.
like half price.
Yeah, sure.
We get in there,
Yeah.
and I think you're partway through like Too Much Time in My Hands, which is a song I had never heard of before. And I
Very
walk in,
coincidental that you should come in on that song.
and I'm
yes.
like, wow, this song's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't that familiar with Styx.
Yeah, how would you know it? I think it only sold about 40 million copies.
And so I'm waiting outside for you.
Yeah. What did I do
Shaw.
this time?
Tommy Shaw comes out,
Yeah.
you come out, and I yell your name, Gowan.
Right. I
Which
punched you
think-
in the face.
I think to myself, you never hear that because you're in the States and no one knows who you are.
Okay.
So the fact that I yelled Gowan really caught your ear.
Oh, yeah.
And
It
you were
would.
nice enough,
It
and so I
would.
got another autograph from you.
Let's see this one.
To John, Larry Gowan, Styx 99.
Man, oh man.
My ticket stubs on the other side, we can see it was November
Okay,
99.
let's have a look. The exact date was November 14. JY's birthday. I remember this because it was at the Fillmore. It was JY's birthday that night. It was the first time I'd ever played the Fillmore, which is, where Hendrix and all kinds of
Right.
great acts played, obviously. And that was a big night for me, actually. So I'm glad that you kept that as a great memento. You should maybe put it online. Or something. By the way, you know what could really help my career internationally? If you put this on the internet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or sorry, you call it internets. That's the Canadian way.
So when we talked,
Yes.
I was asking you about solo Gowan work.
Yes.
And you were telling me you had just started, I don't know if started or finished
That's right, I
a
sent you that
record.
message, yep.
Right when
Halfway.
the Styx thing came along.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we're jumping back. Yes, okay.
So you put that on the shelf.
I did, yeah. I did and I didn't, because, I put it on the shelf as far as being a Gowan record, but when Styx went to make Cyclorama, there were some elements of a few of the songs that I was able to kind of throw into the pot, so to speak, that wound up, emerging as Styx songs on Cyclorama in 2003. And yeah, but those songs still exist, and perhaps I'll revisit them again.
I was on the Gowan.org website, and I was lamenting in the guest book section.
Okay.
I was saying, really happy you were Styx and getting worldwide fame, but the flip side was that as the solo artist, I would never get to see you again and
That is
albums.
that is the sad flip side, or seemed to be.
And that was 2 years ago, and then
Yeah.
within an hour,
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook, I get a friend request from Larry Gowan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. And then you sent me like
Sure it wasn't Lawrence Gowan?
It was a Gowan of some kind.
Okay. Of some nature, yeah.
And you sent me some links to these teaser websites where you were trying to tease the re-release of Strange Animal.
Yes, that's correct.
OminousSpiritus.com
That's correct.
or
That's
something.
right. That's right.
And I was like, oh, there's going to be some new stuff coming
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
And so
I like to play around on the internets myself.
there's I think the 25th anniversary
Yeah.
of
Strange
Animal.
Animal. Correct.
So that came out in 2010.
Correct.
It was a DVD package,
Yeah.
remastered.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, we had So this year,
Yep.
we had the 25th anniversary.
Great Dirty World.
Great Dirty World.
Correct.
Are we going to have every couple of years a 25th anniversary of each record?
Why not? Let's do it. No, I might. I don't know. Honestly, I think that I've been in Styx so long now that they happen to realize that there's some residual benefits to my doing my solo shows as well, because so many Styx fans have come to know Gowan music now and travel and come and see the shows. That's part of why I've booked so many of them in Niagara Falls. It's right on the border. It's a fantastic venue.
It's great for someone who lives in New York.
I know.
But
Sorry.
Californian.
I'm sorry. No, a lot of fans do travel. A lot of really more devoted fans will fly all the way from California. Yeah. Not ones to whom I've ever given a couple of autographs in 2 different decades, but just casual people who discovered it on the internet and decided to come up. So I invite you to come up there. You won't have to see a scalper. Come and see me personally.
Can we do another interview?
$5 off your ticket.
Amazing.
You heard it. I can't go back on it now.
Facebook, you posted a photo of a studio.
Yeah.
And you said, here's what I'm recording.
That's correct.
Right now, my next album.
That's right. It's coming along tremendously well. Tremendously well. We did a little bit of it in a studio called Dreamland in Woodstock, New York, with Jerry Marotta and Tony Levin. We're about to work a little bit with Todd, drummer from Styx, on it. Some great players already on it. Now that you mentioned the Gasworks, it's a piece of music that originally was done in the Gasworks.
Is this like an old Rheingold song?
Yes, it is. It's an old, not just a song, it's an entire concept called Dr. Starlight and the Watchmaker. It's the first place I've ever told someone about it. And it's a concept album, rock opera piece that's very, space themed, like a lot of things were in the 70s. But I started revisiting it in around late 2008. I began to kind of bring it up again, and new material began to emerge, and a better way of kind of bringing the story to a completion and to making it relevant to today, but still keeping everything that we did back in the 70s. And so I'm having a ton of fun doing that. And being in Styx is part of what really provoked me to do that. Bass player from the original band, he was the first one that suggested to me several times I should think about this. But when Styx recorded Regeneration Volume 1 and 2, which is where we went and re-recorded a number of the biggest Styx songs, I began to realize I have music still that I've never released that's of this classic rock era. So it's really being recorded as if it were an undiscovered classic rock album from the 70s, which is exactly what it is.
Right.
So that's what we're working on. We're about halfway through. I don't know when it'll be released. I'm actually writing the story out more in long form right now, so that there's more detail if people want to go to that kind of depth in it. And but the music it's just about there. Maybe it'll debut right here on the John Wants Answers show.
We'd love to have you back and perform on the show.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring your keyboard. We'll jam out to Smelter.
This is an album that you could release now in the States.
It'll be worldwide.
Worldwide.
Because now with iTunes, it's all worldwide, right?
Right.
I mean, all my old stuff is...
Most of them. I looked on the internet. It was like 2 albums.
Oh, 2 are
aren't-
not. Because 2 of them, the deal was with Atlantic. And I don't have the full... I gotta pursue that further. The Lost Brotherhood and You Can Call Me Larry album. But there are a number of songs from those records that are on the Greatest Hits album, which is available on iTunes.
Right.
So I do have to look into getting those other 2 records, though. Thank you.
All right.
For
I
giving
really
me
look
more
forward to
homework.
it. I'm going to be on KKUP Radio.
No way.
I'm doing a Canadian pop music
You're being
show.
on KKUP?
Yeah.
You're on KCUP? I can't wait to see you.
It's the Cupertino station. I'm going to do 90 minutes of all Canadian music.
Beautiful.
What Gowan song would you like me to play?
Play the one that you said that you pointed out to you mentioned to your sister. Play Moonlight Desires.
Moonlight Desires.
Sounds good. And it features John Anderson from Yes. So I know you can't go wrong with that one.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure.
I'm a huge fan.
Great to talk to you.
Honor for
And
me.
nice to meet you. Again, obviously we've met so many times, but you have the photos to prove it.
The folks prove it. Yeah.
I have a mug now to prove it. And an autograph.
Yeah.
Picture.
Don't make your bandmates too jealous.
That's great. Oh, believe me, they're gonna want to fight over this when we get down there.
I brought you.
Oh, smelter! They melt it down in the smelter. The smelter isn't made for you and me, just for rocks, don't you see? Won't you tell me about the smelter?